Welcome to the Fleet Geeks podcast. We're here to help develop fleet and transport professionals. Do you want to progress and develop your skills and knowledge? We promise to bring lively conversation and debate around interesting issues and keep you bang up to date with changes in our awesome industry. The Fleet Geeks are a community of professionals, and if you enjoy the podcast, why not join the discussion for free in the Fleet Geek community over on Facebook?
Red lights rolling, Sharni. How are you today? Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing a silly voice. I'm just making sure that the recording's still working. One moment. It's still working. Amazing. Right. I love it when the tech comes together. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Fleet Geeks podcast. I'm joined today by Flagship Partners General Manager Sharni Mandare. Sharni, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Would you like to move that mic a little closer to you? Because you're a little bit more quiet than me. But I think that's very unusual for a start. So for people who haven't met Sharni, she's the very loud one in the office. If you ever do come to visit us, you can't miss her. But she's absolutely amazing. She's been with the business 4 years. Sharni, for the benefit of the listeners, can you just introduce yourself? Who is? It's very existential. Sharni, who is Sharni Mandare?
A female.
Female. Okay, female. Tell us more about yourself.
I'm Sharni. Obviously, Pete's let you know I'm General Manager of Flagship Partners. Been with the team for 4 years. Seen the business grow, move premises, if not double or maybe triple in size now. Triple probably.
I'd say so,
yeah. From a personal perspective, I'm quite young still. I like to say I'm quite young still, but time is ticking.
Sounds like you're having kids sometimes, so.
No, kids aren't for me. But I'm still maybe finding myself, I guess. So I wouldn't say I can define who I am yet, but in a quick way, I'm a very ambitious, money-driven person.
Nice. Okay, cool. And you're an absolute gangster when it comes to delivering good quality work. So well done for that.
Thanks.
So I think the big question is then for listeners is what made you come to Flagship? Tell us a bit about sort of the history leading up to Flagship, because you joined at what, 21?
Yeah, 21.
So you're
in
still
the midst
quite
of
young.
COVID.
Yeah, you're still quite young. So just off the back of COVID, you joined in 2020, age of 21. What sort of led Sharni to join Flagship? What was your role to start with?
So a bit of background, my parents have always had their own business and have been quite successful. So that's driven me to always strive for the best. And I'm the youngest and only girl. Growing up, I always thought I would want to be a WAG or something of that nature. Nice. But I seemed to realise as I got older that actually I want to have my own money and develop my own career and be able to stand on my own. And now my worst fear is probably relying on someone else. So it's quite funny how things take a 360. Nice. I went to quite a good school, so I'd say I had quite a good education. Did what everyone thought was the right thing, I guess, when you're at that age and go to university, and had quite a lot of family pressure, and I thought that was the right thing for me. However, it certainly wasn't. I dropped out. I'm not really a studier. I'm more of a doer, should I say. Went into recruitment. I was initially studying fashion marketing and buying and realised actually it wasn't for me. And I soon realised that a lot of people that have those degrees live in London and actually are just sales associates or department managers or something like that. And I thought there isn't enough growth in there for me or enough money-making opportunities. So that's when I fully decided I'm not going to go back to uni, and that's when I moved into recruitment. It was something that I just applied for, and I know that the commission was quite good, and I thought, let me give it a go. It was my first corporate job. Before that, I always just worked in retail or for my parents. So it was probably my first office job, should I say. It was quite cutthroat. It was a big corporate, and recruitment, anyone that's worked in recruitment will know, it gives you quite a thick skin. And then I moved on to a family-run business and did industrial recruitment rather than commercial. And that was a lot harder. So if I thought that commercial recruitment was bad, I soon realised that's nothing. And then I was made redundant in that role during COVID, but actually at that point in time, I thought it was the worst thing to happen, but I think it was probably one of the best things that happened to me. And then I joined Flagship in a business development manager role, and then I soon picked up other things in the business, like training, administrative work, invoicing. Tried to make myself indispensable to Pete, so I would never want to be in that position again where I was made redundant. So that's why I tried to pick up as many things as possible. And also I really enjoyed selling and then delivering. I had the whole customer experience, which I really liked. And then I have worked myself up to general manager, really.
Awesome. And you work your socks off. So hats off to you. And I think you very much demonstrate a strong work ethic. So all those people out there that go, these young folk, they don't have a work ethic, they don't know what hard work is. I think Sharni dispels the myth. So big pat on the back for that, Sharni. Tell us a bit about, so one of the things, being on the Fleet Geeks podcast, it must be a bit daunting for you working in this sector when you've not really got the background in it. So how do you find that?
I would say I found it a real challenge at the start, but I soon understood only I can fix that. I'm really against the whole victim mentality kind of thing. Everyone can make an excuse. You can blame it on someone else, but unless you're planning to change it, stop moaning about it, sure. Respectfully. So it was more just picking up knowledge from yourself, Pete, asking those questions, listening to those conversations, use resources that Pete provides, like Fleet Geeks, and we offer things like peer-to-peer mentoring. So there's loads of resources out there, regardless of Flagship anyway. So I think it's just about utilising those, really. Okay.
Yeah, it is absolutely. There's lots of learning opportunities, and I think I've managed to twist your arm finally into getting you to do be running the business and on a course as well for 2 weeks. It might not be ideal.
We'll make it work, though.
Yeah, we make it work. We make things work, right? So that's awesome. So what are your aspirations for yourself, Sharni, longer term? What is it that you want to, where do you want to get to?
Slightly shorter term, managing director of Flagship. That is the aim.
She's getting me sacked. Okay.
Or hopefully making Pete's life easier in the future. Hello, it's Sharni from Flagship Partners. We are really proud to sponsor the Fleet Geeks podcast. If you need expert advice or training for your fleet business, make Flagship Partners your first choice. We are really excited to announce the launch of our Transport Manager Academy. With expert development for fleet leaders, we offer fully accredited initial Transport Manager CPC training, CPC refresher, and operator license awareness training, as well as mentoring, support, and professional development beyond the qualification. Our vision is to develop elite fleet professionals.
Let's just wing it. That's how we roll, right? So you got the Transport Manager coming up in November. How have you got by so far, though? How have you got by with stuff when you get asked questions and stuff like that? Because you've learnt loads, haven't you? You're good with your first aid training. You're good with very much other elements of the business. And there probably isn't a part of the business you don't know. Is transport kind of like your kryptonite?
Yeah, in a way. I feel like I maybe put down how much I actually do know. But I feel like I've got by probably from being honest with customers and utilising the consultants we employ.
Yeah, sure. Well, if at any time we've got like 5-6 consultants, haven't we, for you to be able to speak to and ask questions. So there's always someone available.
Yeah, so I always like to be honest with our customers and just let them know that's not really my expertise and I can point you in the right direction. But actually I surprise myself sometimes on how much I already know. Yeah, cool. But yeah, and I'm a bit of a, not that I wing it, I'm good with my words.
Just give it a go, right?
Yeah, I'm good with my words.
Just give it a go.
And I always like to go back to the customer with the right answer.
Nice.
So.
And then we were talking about what your aspirations were to be the MD.
Yeah, so that's what the question was, yeah. So hopefully managing director, soon to come. So then Pete can focus more on leadership, coaching, new book coming out soon.
Nice, give it a plug, love it.
Isn't it?
Very good.
And then hopefully grow Flagship, get more sites so we can reach further afield.
That was really a question for you. So I know that you've got plans to want to expand it to further premises. What are your sort of top 3 goals for Flagship over the next sort of 5 years?
So I would like to be a number one provider for training and consultancy. And I'd like to push some of these other bigger boys to the side,
Nice.
and kind of offer more options as well to customers. I think not just in our industry, there's obviously people that take over the market, and you kind of just tend to go to them because of brand loyalty, or you've already heard of that brand before, that company, and kind of letting customers know there's other options out there for you, that do provide, if not probably better service, without putting other people down. But I'm quite passionate about what we do. We do it a really good job, and I think we provide really good service. So that's one big focus for me. I would say going a further field, having more premises.
Spreading our wings.
Yeah. We're in quite a good location now anyway, but I think if we had maybe a little bit more up north and cover that sector a little bit better. And then after that, maybe where can we grow Flagship's arms in other areas? Before, funny enough, when I first joined Flagship, I said to Pete that you always keep having new ideas and how many services can we sell? And it's a bit complicated, but actually, I think if it's just a subdivision or a sub-brand of Flagship partners, be a community really for transport managers, instead of being a Facebook page where you're not sure if the advice you're getting is reliable or true and things like that. So I think, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about community. I think, so my goal, certainly, I agree with you really. We want to be the number one provider to fleet operators in the UK. We want to be the number one choice. And that does mean unseating some companies that are a bit bigger than us. In the meantime, I think you're right about spreading our wings. To enable us to do that, we need to go more nationally. We need to be able to provide that, and I think that's got to be underwritten by the third, which is around the software and selling our membership packages through Allied and those kinds of things, which will help us to support more customers
Further
afield. I think will be the way forward. So if people haven't heard of Allied yet, please do get in touch with us to find out more about how that can help support you, that membership program, which is absolutely fantastic. Whilst Sharni burps, I think. I don't know. I wasn't sure if that was a burp or a fart. Was
Thanks for snitching on me, but yeah.
No worries. So I guess the next thing is, what is the funniest thing? And I'll talk for a little bit. What's the funniest thing that has happened to you since you've been working for Flagship, or the most? The most interesting thing.
You're embarrassing me again now.
Oh, okay. What have you got? Because I don't know where you're going with this. Tell me when you've got something. I'll speak in the meantime.
I've got two already.
Oh, really? There's two. Are they podcast safe?
It's more, I'm just embarrassing myself now.
Oh,
but
really?
hey ho,
Right, okay.
we'll go with it.
Let's go. Right. Okay, go. Share them both first at a high level.
We'll go with the first one. That's just, I would say it was a bit more personally embarrassing rather than. Yeah.
Okay, there is no other type of embarrassment.
Yeah, I would say going to a training course and people saying, "Are you not Pete?" I think that was a little bit embarrassing. And I was like, "Am I really that last option?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us more about that. What happened? Where did you go?
We can't check that.
Oh, okay.
But a certain customer maybe wasn't happy to see me.
They were really disappointed that
I turned up and I wasn't.
Oh, wow. Second fiddle.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Second fiddle to the main man.
Bold and shiny. No.
Yeah, how dare you?
Isn't it? I'm a better option.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then the second one, probably thinking I was alone and farting.
Oh, nice.
And then actually it was one of our customers, the director of the company, that walked past.
Amazing. Where was that? Was that
here?
Here,
yeah.
Was it?
In front of Dan Rose. Everyone knows who the customer is now as well, but yeah.
That's our landlord. That's amazing. You thought you were on your own, so you just let one rip?
Yeah.
That's amazing. How did you feel?
I felt mortified. I felt so mortified.
Did he say anything?
No, he hasn't.
No.
No.
Did he just laugh?
I think he just, I don't know, but I was so embarrassing. Can you think of any? That for me, I'm thinking.
You, embarrassing for you. No, I don't think so, really.
I broke the chair recently. That was
Oh,
quite
yeah.
funny for other people in the office.
You did break the chair, and then you tried to stitch me up with it and put it in my office without me knowing. You do have a habit of jumping out on people.
Oh yeah, that's a common thing I like to do. Hide under tables, hide anywhere really, and try to scare people. That's not really embarrassing for me.
No, it's not really. Apart from when it's video recorded for other people. Okay, but when you're not jumping out on people or farting in front of our landlord, what are your main interests? Let's let people know a bit more about Sharni, the
At this point,
legend behind the person. What
at this
are your
point in
big
my
important
life,
things?
I'm a bit sad. I would say work is my life. Thankfully, I don't have many responsibilities except myself, which I quite enjoy. And I don't see really myself having children at this point in time. So my main goal really at the moment is just achieving the most I can through my job. But interests, I don't really have that many besides eating and shopping.
Eating and shopping, nice.
I don't mind an art gallery, to be fair.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's new on me.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because
You
I
like a
studied
bit of
art.
art?
I studied art at A-level,
Nice.
so I do quite enjoy art, but I would say more contemporary art.
Oh, this is like, I don't know. This is like modern sharesies of like things that like we shouldn't really like. So, do you know my secret passion?
I'm scared now.
Classical music.
You know what? I used to laugh at people about that, but actually, it's really quite relaxing.
It is very relaxing.
Yeah, so
I love classical music.
I understand. I hear it now.
People are really.
But I like
laughing.
jazz,
People
and
are
they say
laughing at
that in the office that
I
I
like
like.
a bit of jazz.
They say, "Oh, you're listening to your elevator music again." No, you just ain't got class and decorum.
me. Ooh, and you like a bit of contemporary art.
Yeah.
A bit like Tate modern. That
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
There you go. So, if anyone wants a hint on where to take Sharni on a first date, Tate modern and somewhere nice for food, right?
Yeah.
And they're onto a winner.
Mhm.
Amazing.
I promise I won't fart.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So, so you like nice food and you like designer clothes and stuff like that when the monies are available, right?
Of course.
Okay, cool. So, what about long-term plans? Not interested. Normally, HR people would tell me off, going, "Oh, you don't really want to have a family," that sort of stuff. But
We are HR.
that's how we talk about stuff, right? So you're very much committed to the job,
Yeah.
committed to the customers,
Mhm.
and people are going to hear a bit more from you on the Fleet Geeks podcast whilst you go on your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to share your journey from zero to hero when it comes to transport management, right? So we're going to
Agreed.
share that journey, and you're going to be interviewing some of our guests and things like that in the future.
Yeah, and hopefully bring a lot more women to transport or women to the podcast. I know Pete does interview quite a lot of women anyway, but I think that's quite important, and especially being a woman of colour.
How does
Yeah.
that affect you in the industry? How do you find that? Because it's really difficult, right, isn't it? Because there's a real balance there. I was listening to a podcast today with Cody Sanchez. Have you heard of Cody Sanchez? She was talking to
Stephen.
Bartlett-
Yeah.
Steve
She's
Bartlett
got American.
on Diary of a CO.
I think I watched snippets of it actually.
Yeah, so Cody Sanchez is talking, and they're basically saying that people don't care anymore. So you might be any type of minority or anything, and people just don't care anymore. They're just like, so what? Just get on with it. If that makes sense.
I think
That's
the younger
kind of-
generation definitely.
that's
We're a
kind of
lot
like-
more. We don't care, but
That's kind of like the vibe that's going, right? But at the same time, I realise how super privileged I am having built Flagship. I don't think I could have done that if I didn't have the privileges that I have. So I kind of understand that there are some challenges. So explain those. What sort of challenges have you come
I
across?
think in our industry it's a lot more difficult, and as it will be with some others. I think with transport it tends to be an older demographic, white, and tends to be as well, some of our customers are in agricultural and they tend to not leave a certain environment, or they tend to stay in their same kind of groups or social
so it's
environments.
Quite insular. Yeah, it can be quite insular.
So I feel like some people already have stereotypes or preconceived notions potentially about me when they see me, but I think I can only educate those people, and some people are still going to have those thoughts or feelings against me regardless. And that's just down to how their social conditioning, how they've been brought up before, and all of those things, and what they're accustomed to. But I would strive to, one, make sure that I'm not potentially, as some people say, sex sells. I make sure I do the opposite of that, because I don't want to feel like she's just a pretty face, or she's just a woman to come represent the company. So I always try, this is why I like to know as much as I possibly can about the field that I'm talking about. And I think it is very difficult, but I think only we can change that. And like I said, if from me taking over the podcast maybe one day, or being more prevalent on this podcast, that's only going to encourage more people of colour or more women to do similar things or join me on this podcast. So yes, it's difficult, but only we can make changes about that, really. And to be honest, I think as Flagship partners, we don't tend to work with customers that don't align with us. So if it would be a problem working with me, then you're probably not the right fit for us.
Fair play. That sounds quite good, to be fair. So is it like, I don't know, do you find it like you want to be inspiring to people? I'm thinking about my son. My son goes, "Dad, you're so inspiring." Like he's taking the mick out of me, right? So whenever I say inspiring, I think of my son going, "Dad, you're so inspiring." And like I say, he's being sarcastic. But do you find it like motivating to inspire like the next generation of like women and people of colour to go, "Do you know what? Transport's for you. Come along. It's all good. We can do this."
Yeah, definitely. And I think also it's sometimes just dealing with those hard situations, or sometimes there's been plenty of times where I've gone to networking and I've heard, "Oh, you don't need to tan, you're already brown," or "You're quite smart for someone that's your age," or "You know quite a bit of that area because you're a woman." I'm quite surprised. But I think it's about how you deal with those comments. And I think be prepared. I know you shouldn't be prepared for racism, but unfortunately there's still going to be a minority of people that think this way and think there's nothing wrong with these comments. But it's about, again, pulling them up, educating those people and telling them it's not okay. I think a lot of people will brush it off and kind of think it's normal, it's expected anyway. Yeah. But if you do that, it's never going to stop.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, like I one thing that always impresses me, if I may say, about you, is that I always think that you're open to having a laugh about it as well, though, because like sometimes it can be a bit like, particularly, and I think you'll recognise this with some of our customers. They mean well or intend well, but sometimes like it doesn't come out quite right. Or they say something, and maybe if you were being super strict on them, they haven't strictly like been the most PC in what they've said, but their heart's in the right place. Like you're quite chilled about that stuff, aren't you? And you just willingly have a laugh.
Exactly. Like there will be someone that potentially listens to this podcast and feel that the word or the term "people of colour" isn't acceptable, but each their own, I guess, in a little bit of a way. As long as you're not being outright offensive with ill intent, it takes a lot to offend me, regardless of what you're saying. So I just think it is about the person and what they're trying to get across. And then after that, you can let them know. Where we've had open conversations in our office and said, I've let people know that maybe you shouldn't use that word for this reason and this is why. Mm-hmm. For example, my mum has used the word half caste before. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people of our older, I would say your generation, Pete, and upwards, that's a normal word, and what's wrong with that word? There's not really an issue with that word. Yeah. But it's referring to being half a breed of something. And it was because white people weren't white enough when they mixed with slavery and things like that. There's a lot behind it. So that's the reason why. But a lot of people don't even know that in the first place. Yeah. And I think as well, from teaching equality and diversity courses through Flagship and going around to other businesses and people that are predominantly in an industrial environment, a lot of the time they don't see any wrong with that. And then it's kind of our duty of people in this demographic to pull these people up, because I've taught courses and people have said, but my wife's mixed race, or she's this or that, or whatever, that kind of gives me a right to. But if those people aren't going to come forward and say it's not right, then of course it's going to keep on happening.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, so it is all about having that education piece, isn't it? And we do recommend having equality and inclusion training. It's really important as well as part of the service that we offer.
And I always say, if you're unsure, like you said, it takes a lot to offend me. If you're unsure, come to me and I'll tell you whether it's right to say or not to say.
Yeah, sometimes in the office we'll have a bit of potluck. We'll go, Sharni, is this okay? Or is that okay? And it's like, no, you can't say that. It's like, oh, okay then. I won't say that then.
Yeah, but at least you've taken the time to actually ask the question.
Yeah.
But I think as well, that those that are of a certain demographic, I don't think you should tone down your culture or your way in a business. Or, for example, there'll be things like, I wouldn't bring this food in because it might stink, or to other people, and because they're not used to those smells. We've had days where we've all bought food in from different cultures, and it kind of gets to people learning about different cultures as well. There's also people that, for example, I'm a bit of a hypocrite in this. I shorten my name, so it's easier for people that are of a different demographic to say my name. But try refrain from doing those things, and don't take away who you are really at the end of the day.
Yeah, cool. And I think tolerance is like a two-way street, isn't it? Because I get frustrated with people who are intolerant on all sides, if that makes sense, because ultimately... Because we've worked with someone who wasn't very tolerant, haven't we? And like it can be really uncomfortable for people. So actually tolerance is like for everyone to just chill out a little bit about stuff, if you know what I mean. And just like it's all about having that growth mindset and just being open to feedback and having a good quality conversation about stuff.
And you don't want to instill fear into people where they're scared to say something, or they're constantly on eggshells, or just worry because... Yes, they feel like that around you, but doesn't mean the way they talk and change is going to be with someone else. Mm-hmm. So you've, if anything, just stopped potential growth in that person just because you're a bit...
I'm thinking of like...
over the top.
You know, like did you ever read The Sun, like Dear Deirdre? Where people would like write into the Sun columnist and they'd ask them about her like their like sexual problems
agony
and
aunt
stuff.
type of thing. Yeah.
You could be like, "Is it okay, Sharni?" Question mark. And like people could write in and go, "Is it okay, Sharni, if I say?"
The racism forum.
Almost like just making sure, like, is it okay if I can say this? And then you can say no and why. Maybe we should have like a Sharni amnesty.
People would pay for it. I'm willing to do it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So this has been fun. Have you enjoyed doing your first podcast?
I have enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. And on the next one, you're going to be interviewing me.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting. And then we're going to see you sort of take over and pop up on some other ones. We've just organised a podcast with the guys from Mission Zero with baggers, which will be fun.
Oh, nice.
So that's one to look forward to as well. And in the meantime, listeners, please do send in. So Sharni's super, like, much more responsive than I am. She is super on it all the time with the comms. So if you've got a podcast that you're interested in, particularly from Sharni, ask Sharni anything. Is it okay if? And send Sharni your emails with some suggestions, things you'd like to hear about, who you'd like to be interviewed. We've just recently interviewed Mike Dauber at the NavSys. I'm trying to line up some more with DVSA earned recognition, so we've got lots and lots of stuff on. But yeah, drop Sharni an email, sharni@flagshippartners.co.uk, and don't forget to add her on LinkedIn as well, Sharni Mandel. Get her added on LinkedIn and send in any requests or any questions you've got that you'd like us answering on the podcast. Is that fair?
Amazing.
Awesome. Sharni, you've been an amazing guest. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
See you guys soon. Thanks for listening, guys, and make sure you subscribe. See you all soon. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please share with your friends and colleagues too. Join us for free on Facebook with the Fleet Geeks community for transport and fleet managers. Fleet Geeks offers ongoing professional development, networking and mentoring too. So get in touch with me, Pete Rushmer, on any social media platform to find out more.